by that time I had also got a heart attack, so I had a bypass, so I eased out of that. And,
Too much stress. Real estate.
no comments. No comments.
Overseas, I see a lot of goat milk in the shelves. Camel
And
milk,
it is
goat milk.
three times more expensive than normal products.
Yeah.
So space index it's called.
Perfect.
So how much you can build on a particular plot of land.
Okay.
So if it is 1 FSI, so if you have X
1,000 square feet of land.
So you can build 1,000 square foot.
Okay. Welcome to EPZK, which is Exploring People with Zaid Khan. This time you're doing an episode with someone who's very experienced in his tenure, and I think this will be more of an exchange of knowledge. Normally we do it with architects and interior designers per se from the industry, but this time you're doing it with someone who's into rural development. We have someone who's Mr. Anil Shinde, who is CEO for Annasaheb Shinde Foundation, which is into agro and social work. So I'll move the camera to him by just asking him a simple question. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for inviting me on the show.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for me also, and I'm fairly excited. Well, to know about my foundation or the work I'm doing, the basics is India is considered an agricultural land, and we are luckily now one of the few countries which are self-sufficient in our food security. However, in the mid-60s, the situation was not like this. We were dependent on American imported food under the PL 480 program, and if the food or the ships became late, people used to die. And experts, economic experts in the world had given up India. They said, because of food shortage, India will not survive as a nation in the mid-70s.
Okay.
Yeah. However, Mr. Annasaheb Shinde, on whose name our foundation works, who was the Union Minister of State for Agriculture for 15 years in India, he revolutionized the Indian agriculture, and today we are one of the first producers of most of the agriculture commodities in the world.
Perfect. All right. Cool. I think no, but I would like to ask one question. I think until when do you plan? I think until when do you see that we'll get like the FMGC products that we get in a grocery store? Until when do you feel that we'll have goat milk coming up in the shelves?
From our side, it will start by September this year.
Okay.
And nationally, it may because a few lakh liters of goat milk coming per day will happen after 2 years of time. But then our departmental stores and other such outlets will definitely start after 1 year's time seeing Indian goat milk products, byproducts like cheese, flavored milk, and milk powder coming in the shelves of India.
Nice, interesting.
And at a reasonable price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited for it because overseas I see a lot of goat milk in the shelves. I think
Camel
milk,
it is
goat milk.
three times more expensive than normal products.
Yeah.
But because our Indian consumer is also very price conscious, we will try to balance while extending the benefits to our beneficiaries. We will try to see that even the consumer is not oppressed.
Interesting. I think that we were looking forward for it.
Well, yes.
All the best.
So are we looking forward for it.
You tell me about the recent story when I called you, and then you said that I had 90 liters of milk with me and I'm planning to distribute it, and it was a kiosk in the morning. I want to know about it. How did you do it and what happened?
Well, our project is in a small village called Malpur in Dhulia district, which is 350 kilometers away from Bombay.
Yeah.
So last time we had tried to get the goat milk in the milk containers, but only 90 liters we tried to get through the tourist buses.
Okay.
And by half of it by the next day had got spoiled because it doesn't have the shelf life, though we had taken all possible precautions.
Ah,
So this time we brought it through our air-conditioned train coupe.
nice.
And early morning, 4 o'clock, we got down and we saw to it that by 7:38,
Yeah.
it was distributed to our customers.
Yeah.
So this time it was a better experience than last time.
I think one of the senior most person that we have on our podcast today is you, because I've done a lot of podcasts before. I wanted to ask you, how was your life journey has been, if you want to put it in a nutshell? What have you seen in you? Because I think this wherever
Well, I come from a small village, not small village, it's a town near Shirdi.
Okay.
It's called Sri Rampur.
Okay.
It's a town which has many sugar factories. It was one of the town's biggest sugar markets of India.
Okay.
And Mr. Annasaheb Shinde was instrumental in seeing that his district was the highest sugar producing district of India.
Okay.
And during his period in the ministry, India was the biggest sugar producer of the world, ahead of even Brazil.
Nice.
Yeah. So our journey started like that, and as children from, I was 10 years old or less than 10 years old when my father went to Delhi in the national government. So by default, we also went to Delhi. And we were rural children with not knowing Hindi, not knowing English, and suddenly in a Delhi atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it was initially
Which
big.
year? Which year you are speaking about?
This is 62.
1962.
1962.
Okay.
And means it was fairly difficult, but our father was a very wise man. So instead of ego building by staying in a big bungalow and all that, which the government could have allocated to him, he preferred quarters along with the bureaucrats. So IS officers, IPS officers were our neighbors, and their children were our friends. So what my father used to do is give them sweets, toffees, or even dry fruits or something, which would tempt them to take us along for playing with them.
Okay.
And then within 6 months, we also picked up English. And then because we were rural people, we were always little better than in the games and all that. So we learned. And first year, my school result was I came 11th. From next year onwards, all three of us, one sister and two brothers, we were toppers of our class.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had caught up from wherever we were. And then, luckily for me, at the undergraduate level, I went to Germany at the age of 17.
Speaking about 1970 now.
1970 now. And in those days, undergraduate level, you couldn't send money from India. So I did all my education, earn and learn. And very interestingly, Germany's education is free, or was free at that time, even for foreigners.
Okay.
So I had no fees as that. And if you are going for a technical institute, you have to work 1 year in factory.
Okay.
So as a practical training, actual on the factory field.
Okay.
So in that they pay well for foreigners,
Yeah.
though it was a much lower pay than their professionals.
Okay.
But it was good enough for us to survive.
Yeah.
Means, in fact, 720 Deutschmarks at that time, I could survive on 450 Deutschmark a month, covering everything. So I used to save money, and during vacations, and otherwise, I used to teach the German students English and mathematics so I could earn additional money.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But then during the vacations, I worked as a coolie, then I worked as a sweeper, then I worked as a postman, I worked as an interpreter, and then as a translator. So later on, I earned a lot of money even as a student. So it was
Nice.
good, yeah. And then 1975, when I came back, I started my industry. I have been an entrepreneur throughout my life after I came back. And I started my industry in Aurangabad for soaps and detergents. And later on, when by default we had to ship to Bombay, then I had to, because then controlling the industry so far away was difficult, I shifted into electronics, and I was pioneer manufacturer of video games and remote and radio control toys from India, pioneer manufacturer exporter. And I had awards as the top toy exporter of the toy
Which
exporter.
brand was this, sir?
No, it was called Octopus, was my company's name. However, the toys were made as per the buyer's brand.
Which means it was OEM. You're doing
It
OEM.
was a sort of OEM.
Yeah.
And in those days, video games were new. It
Yeah, I
was
know
the
the cassette games, right?
4-bit and 8-bit games.
Yeah.
And basically, they were, in a way, copies of Atari and Nintendo.
Yeah.
But I did fairly well.
Yeah.
As I said, for 3 continuous years, I was the top toy exporter of the country,
Nice.
and with national awards and all that. But then I did have a big setback, and then I had to change my line. And then I came to the line of your interest. I joined a construction company, a big one, but it was not my own. Lok Housing, which was India's first listed company in real estate. And so I have been in the real estate for last, well, before I retired and all that, almost for 20 years I was in real estate. Along with a friend who is now very big in rural development, Mr. Mayank Gandhi, we had started a concept called Remaking of Mumbai.
Remaking of Mumbai.
Yeah, please go on the website and see what we have done. The cluster development of Bombay and Maharashtra was originated or started by us.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were trying to redevelop Mumbai, the island city, that is from Mahim to Kolaba. There were 33,000 old and dilapidated buildings, or they are still quite a
there, I
lot
think,
of
yeah.
them. But the real development of that area started only because of us, because we convinced the government that don't go by the concept of FSI. They had given development rights to that area, but a ceiling of 4 FSI.
Just to understand, because you worked on this, because the viewers, I think I think I want to understand what is FSI as a concept. Just to explain that.
No, floor space index it's called.
Perfect.
So how much you can build on a particular plot of land.
Okay.
So if it is 1 FSI, so if you have X
1,000 square feet of land.
so you can build 1,000 square foot.
Okay.
Like that. Now, if on 1,000 square foot you build 16,000 square foot,
Yeah.
then that's vertical development.
Yeah.
You see?
So which means 4 FSI, which means if you're discussing about that, so it was like 1,000 square feet land, you can build 4,000 square feet.
But what happened? I convinced the government, look, you have yourself, an expert IS officer had written a report how the redevelopment in island cities should take place. And they had said that on an average, the flats are 80, or the tenements are 80 to 100 square foot.
Okay.
And we have to give them 300 square foot.
Okay.
So I told them, listen, from 80 to 300 square foot is almost 4 times. So where is the extra FSI remaining? And you have to give them free of cost.
Yeah.
So where is the incentive for the developer? and oh, you can use that additional FSI you have as a floating FSI in the suburbs. It didn't work.
Yeah.
So while the law was made, it took 10 years for the development to start, and it started only after remaking of Mumbai convinced the government that this concept of slab of FSI is wrong. And we also convinced them make cluster development. Individual small flats suddenly becoming vertical. So parking space is required, more open space is required, and you don't have it. So make a cluster where all this could be covered.
Okay.
We had. You must go on the website. Means
Of course, I'll go
I'm
now.
very proud that I can always tell my grandchildren that some of the concepts we developed have been so unique, and I have been a fairly important part of that.
Interesting. And then after that, you moved to your
No,
social
so
working.
while that was part of our local group only.
Correct.
So till now, till 2017, I was with Low Group.
Okay.
And we held one of the biggest town planning seminars of the world here in Bombay,
Okay.
along in collaboration with very big international group.
Okay.
But suddenly our founder, chairman, Mr. Lalit Gandhi, expired of his seat only, and then the whole setback started. So then later the group has gone down, and by that time I had also got a heart attack, so I had a bypass, so I eased out of that, and
Too much stress. Real estate.
no comments. No comments.
Okay.
But I find your concept of architecture and the concept that you mentioned,
Yeah.
that how after the British era or post the
No, we can
British.
have that conversation. Of course, we need to start that conversation now. So when we speak about development, uh, I'm talking about historical monuments per se, or architectural development, usable architectural spaces. As an architectural monument in India is getting lost somewhere. This is what I personally feel. What is that you have to say?
Well, you are very correct. Basically, it has a long history. See, India was one of the, means China and India, but basically India was a very big economic player in the world.
Okay.
We controlled around 27 to 30% of global economy for almost 1500 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we were the top.
When was this part, sir?
This part was from 300 AD till just 150 years before independence. We were very big players in international market.
Yeah.
However, you will see that Indian intellectual development, see, we have been pioneers in mathematics. We invented the zero.
Of course,
If you
yes.
see and if you compare, the Western world had MCDVV, all such things as as numericals.
Yeah.
It is the zero which revolutionized the mathematical world. We had the trigonometry. We had such in astronomy, astrology, mathematics, health, and such sciences. We were far ahead of the world.
Then you have traveled. I think you were there in Germany when things were developing there, and as well as here in India. I think
Yes.
that's the part that you have seen on
I
both the
have
sides.
seen all the. I have seen rural life. I have seen urban life in India. I have seen life in Germany.
Yeah.
And then I have seen how industrial development happened in India, because I have been entrepreneur throughout my life, except when I joined the building industry. But they also, as I said,
Yeah.
in the remaking of Mumbai, we did. Incidentally, if you're talking about me, I was, I am founder trustee of Arthakranti.
Okay.
And Arthakranti is one of the people who were instrumental in demonetization. So people curse us कि क्या किया हम अच्छे cash economy था but see the difference.
Well, why did that happen? Chalo, let's discuss that.
I'll explain.
Okay.
But see the difference. Even a rickshaw wala, a sabji wala, anybody now does digital payment. We have brought majority of the country into banking line. Very big contribution which people will one day accept. Nowhere in the world so much digitalization is used by the smallest man as in India now. And this happened post Notebandi.
But I don't know. I feel that it was not planned. I think that's what I'll say, because there was a lot of trouble to a lot of people. I think that's the thing.
I agree. Uh, see, it 14 years we struggled at the various levels we approached, but nobody took us seriously.
Yeah.
This person, this Prime Minister, gave us 15 minutes, spent 3 hours with us, listening, asking only pertinent questions. Then he made us meet his expert advisors, economic advisors and all that. And for 3 years, then he kept quiet on this. There was a lot of euphoria initially that the party will do it for elections and all that. Nothing happened. And then suddenly it happened.
Yeah.
And then what you say is the execution may have not been proper. Then it may have been with the intention of finishing off opposition's black money. Whatever it is, the side effects. The digitalization, see, most of India, when you paid your driver, your Kamwali Bai and all that, you paid in cash. Now she is ready to accept it. Or she is taking and putting the money in a bank. So now a banking history is getting created for each small man. So once you have a track record in banking, you can get loans, you can get support system. So you have possibility of evolving further if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah. It has the side effects of demonetization have been very unique, which people don't understand. हाँ हमें क्यों में खड़ा रहना पड़ा. गरीब आदमी के पास थोड़ी ब्लैक पैसा था. ब्लैक पैसा किसके पास था? हर बीबी के पास था. मिडिल क्लास एंड अपर मिडिल क्लास हस्बैंड से छुपा के पैसा रखा था इधर उधर. वो परेशान हो गई. अरे अब क्या होगा? तो उसने अपने सर्वेंट को लाइन में खड़ा कर दिया. ये वो things that this is what happened.
Yeah. So we discussed about multiple things. I want to come back again to the goat milking part, or the goat milk part.
Okay.
Because I want to understand more. I think that's one thing that I want to understand. Why are you doing this? That's the whole question.
Animals play a huge role in the role of rural India. We have the highest number of goats in the world. Our goat milk production is highest in the world. However, it's not organized. So they are not benefiting anyway. So we thought this is a niche part. So we will be doing something unique. But when we succeed, we will set up a trend that will revolutionize a particular section of the rural India, which is very necessary.
Okay.
See, what happens is, in Indian agriculture, because 83% of the farmers are less than 2-hectare holdings, it's not a viable holding. With our laws, our historic compulsions, there are so many complications. Agriculture is not an easy thing to resolve.
On water, sir?
Don't worry.
Okay.
But the best thing we thought was, this is one sector we don't have any competition. Nobody is thinking on this direction. And luckily we have Dr. Ali, who is one of the greatest veterinary doctors in the world.
Okay.
He trained in UK first, then in US, and last 35 years he spent in Mid East. So he was the first to find the camel embryo. He has been my friend 40 years.
Yeah.
And we had been thinking animal husbandry में India में कुछ तो करना है.
Yeah.
But the whole setup is because there are vested interests. Nobody let the progress happen beyond artificial insemination. So while in the Western world, something called embryos and embryo transfers have happened 30 years back and evolved to a great extent, we have remained with only artificial insemination. And which says nothing. And now we are very proud, oh, we have got sexless semen. That means if I want a male baby, well, I'll get a male baby. Otherwise, with that injection, I can get a female baby, whatever I want.
Okay.
But embryo transfer is such a fascinating thing. Normally, I'll give an example of the cow. A cow comes on heat once a year. And once with an artificial insemination, then she will get a bull or a female cow.
Correct.
Either or. And finally, it ends up 50-50. With embryos, what happens is, when she comes on the heat and with one insemination, you create 30 embryos in the stomach of that or in that this thing of the cow.
Okay.
These embryos are sucked out and frozen to be given to another mother.
Okay.
And you can bring in 1 year this cow on heat 6 times. So 6 into 30, 180 embryos can be collected from one proven mother and with the injection of a proven father. So like that. Now these embryos, if you put in a different cow, what mother is called? Surrogate mother. So in the surrogate mother, that cow, you take this proven parent's baby and put in this womb, and after 3.5 years, this baby will start giving almost the same amount of milk her mother was giving.
Okay.
Of course, there is a 50% rejection, so 180 embryos won't get possible, but 90, if not 50. So कहा
एक
half,
yeah,
क्योंकि
50% chance.
50% chance.
Half.
तो वहाँ से 50 बच्चे अगर प्रूवन माँ के और प्रूवन बाप के आ गए, this genetics will revolutionize the entire this thing. So now we are going to do this in goats. Focus on their health first. First, we'll give them better money for the whatever milk they are producing just now, and then on the goats, we'll focus on their health, their deworming, their vaccination, their other medication, fodder, lactation cycle, and genetics, and see that they produce much more milk and they produce much more progeny. So just now, these goat herds are getting one baby a year. We are going to have make them produce 3 babies in 2 years.
Okay.
So they will deliver 3 times and not 2 times.
Yeah.
And just now they have one baby per delivery. We will ensure that they have minimum 2 babies, possibly 3 babies per delivery.
Just twins or triplets.
Yeah. Which in goats is very easy.
Okay.
But we'll ensure through the scientific interventions.
But I just hearing this is the whole conversation. It is safe for the animals, right? That's okay. Because
it's happening globally everywhere. We are only not doing.
Okay.
You see, what happened? We had tremendous shortage of milk one time.
Okay.
That's how RA dairy booths you will see everywhere. And I don't know, he must be at how old he is, I don't know. But you people are very young. So you have not seen the shortage period. That time, token used to be given to each family. So, दो token यानी दो bottle दूध. You have to stand in the line early morning in that booth, give your token, then you'll get. Now, suppose your daughter, your son gets married, so one more person is coming in your family. Then you will have to go to MP, MLA, minister, please, sir.
Give me one more token.
One more, can you give me? That was today. We are the highest producer of milk in the world, and number two is America. 50% of us. We have clean swept the milk industry of the world.
Interesting.
Okay, oh yeah. So this is tremendous fact. But then beyond artificial insemination, we didn't, because the vested interests wanted to sell their semen. If we go into embryo development and all that, then who will buy their semen? So that racket, and then all our veterinarians fell in that trap, and they have not evolved further. So now if I come with new technology, they feel, "Sala, ये तो मुझे expose कर देगा." So they ensure that we don't develop.
Rejection.
Yeah. So this is how we came into it, and we are going to show Indian government, Indian public, that this nomadic group can the value addition to their life will be so fascinating within 2 years, and goat breeds within 7 months.
Okay.
First in India to structure it in such a huge organized manner.
I agree, and I'm sure I think people will connect with this, and then there'll be a lot of
Let's hope so.
yeah,
We are
100%. I
looking
think
forward. We are looking forward.
because I think it's more like I'll put it in a nutshell by saying that a goat milk is one part of the story, but it's helping some civilization. That's we're setting up a new civilization. The nomadic people will get a
Yes,
place to stay.
stabilized
That's
and add value, because if you travel 200 kilometers, what is happening to the families?
yeah.
They can't go along with them. Then fatherless families are here. The children are like that. Then the pressure of earning, maintaining themselves, a lot of issues. So we are learning also in the process, but we are very confident that in 2 years' time, I hope my health is there. Of course, I am the oldest man. I am building up a very fairly young team, middle-aged as well as young. That team will carry on the work. So, looking forward, very challenging, very
We are equally
exciting.
excited. I think we should do a podcast again in 2 years' time, and then we'll speak about it
Oh
again.
yeah, by that time, we will be big name.
Yeah, of course, of course, of course, of course, sir.
That
I think what you're doing is something which is, I think, because the whole conversation is something where we touched on multiple things, and how it is happening is great. I think all your ideas per se, or the moments that you started has worked out well. I think this will also work out
they
well, right?
have worked out. Of course, sometimes patchily, like once our promoter died, remaking stopped suddenly because we needed financial support and all that.
Yeah.
And the second generation didn't give that much support. Otherwise, along with the development of the Bori colony in the city,
Yeah.
they got first 18 acres, they reduced it to 13 acres. Along with that, we had got 30 acres of seaward for redevelopment.
Okay.
And I told the new CMD that, look, we don't have the strength to do all this, because the rebuilding of South Mumbai,
I think that time CMD was
Darshan Gandhi, means our main man died.
correct. This is the
Lok housing.
Lok housing.
So I told him, and I was the executive director. So I said, look, I talked to Mr. Pawar, Sharad Pawar, and he had told, if you get government permission, then I'll see that you get help to develop this. So I said, look, we have now got government permission. We are officially assigned 30 acres. We can't do it. Let's take upfront money and 20% shareholding, sleeping partners. Let them do the work. They have the capacity, we don't. But he said, no, we are too small for them, they will eat us up and all that. So nothing happened. The file died. So
Okay. All right, sir. Pleasure speaking with you. We have something for you. I'll just pass it on to you. We have a little.
I must thank all of you for patiently listening. Oh,
This is
so
from our
nice.
side. A small box of chocolates, sir.
Oh, very nice. Thanks.
Please, sir.